Welcome back to our channel, guys, and today's topic is all about renewable energy used today for sustainable architecture. So what is renewable energy? It is the energy from the source that is not depleted when used, such as the wind or the solar power. Renewable energy is energy generated from natural resources such as the sunlight, from the sun, wind, from rain, tides, and geothermal heat, which are renewable and naturally replenished. Renewable energy technologies range from solar power, wind power, hydroelectricity, and micro-hydro biomass and biofuels for transportation. Why we should use renewable energy today? Because of our desire and necessity to avert irreversible climate change. Today's problem globally is the climate change. Because of increasing oil prices, in view of all of these and other factors, government worldwide supports renewable with various incentives. Fossil fuels are non-renewable, that is, they drew on finite resources that will eventually dwindle, becoming too expensive or too environmentally damaging to retrieve. Many types of renewable energy resources such as the wind, the solar energy are constantly replenished and will never run out. That's why abundant sunshine can be used as renewable heat energy. These are the renewable resources of energy. I think we should exclude the biomass. Okay, so there are only four, I think, that is very usable and renewable and can be applied to sustainable architecture. Number one is solar energy from the sun, wind energy, hydropower from water, and heat energy from geothermal sources. There are many sources of renewable energy, but all of them except geothermal energy are more or less directly related to the sun, the main source of clean and sustainable energy for the earth. Here we go with the solar energy using the sun. Solar power is the technology of obtaining usable energy from the light of the sun. Solar power energy has come into use where other power supplies are absent, such as in places from the national electric grid and in space. As of June 2017, India already uses solar grid had a cumulative capacity of 13.11 gigawatts. Solar energy is currently used in a number of applications such as heat, hot water, building heat, or solar cooking, electricity generation in photovoltaics, and solar thermal, Stirling, and other heat engines, desalination of seawater, that's taking the salt out of it so it can be used for drinking or growing crops, and of course, lightings for our houses. The pros and cons of solar energy. So pros is the positive side, the cons is the negative. So number one pros of solar energy, it is clean energy source. Number two, renewable and sustainable. Third is power remote areas. Fourth, can be installed in rooftops or on rooftops. Reduce electricity bills. So much availability, low maintenance, and of course very silent or no noise at all. The negative side of the solar energy is initial cost. It is expensive. Produced power during the day only. Solar cells effectiveness is only 14 to 17%. A large area for setup is 10 square meters per kilowatt hour. Expensive storage, the batteries. Now let's go to the second most used renewable energy. It's called the wind energy, using the wind. Wind power is using the energy of wind. Has been used since the ancient times to move ships and for hundreds of years to pump up water or grind corn and grain into flour. Now it is usually changed into electricity using wind turbines. As of the end of March 2017, the total installed wind power capacity was 32.17 gigawatts. Most modern wind power is generated in the form of electricity by converting the rotation of a turbine blades into electrical current by means of electrical generator. The pros and cons of wind energy. Pros: number 1, it is a clean source of power. Second, renewable source. Cost effective, extra savings for landowners. Use of modern technology, rapid growth of huge potential, can be built on existing farms. The cons or the negative side: wind reliability. Sometimes there is no wind in the area and sometimes there is. Threat to wildlife, noise and visual pollution, very expensive to set up, and concern about safety of people, suitable to certain location only, and there is effect in the environment. Now let's go to the third most used renewable energy. It is the hydropower using water. Hydropower is changing the energy of moving water in more useful forms. Flowing water creates energy that can be captured and turned into electricity. This is called hydroelectric power or hydropower. Today, the largest use of hydropower is for dam that can use the falling water to make electricity. As of April 2017, India installed utility-scale hydroelectric capacity was 44,594 megawatts. The pros and cons of hydropower. Pros: number 1, clean source of power. It is a renewable energy source. Third, cost competitive energy source. Number 4, contributes to development of remote communities. Number 5, recreational opportunities. And number 6, fundamental vehicle for sustainable development. The negative side of the hydropower is on environmental damage. Second, high upfront capital cost. 3, might cause conflicts, may lead to droughts. 5, risk of flood in lower elevation. And 6, carbon dioxide and methane emission. Now let's go to geothermal energy. Well, this is natural source of heat energy coming from the inner core of the earth. This type of energy is obtained by tapping the heat of the earth, which is mostly in the form of hot water and steams. Various technologies are used to get the heat under the earth's surface at different depth. In some areas of the planet, geothermal energy is closer to the surface and therefore easier to harness. Example, in the Philippines, the Malaya power plant in the Pacific. Several meters under the Earth's surface, the temperature is between 10 and 16 degrees centigrade. In winter, this heat can be brought to buildings with pipes Another technology uses deep wells in hot rock in which fluid is heated to produce steam, which then drives turbines to generate electricity. The facilities that enable this process are called dry steam, flash steam, and binary cycle plants. The pros and cons of geothermal energy. Pros, number one is it is renewable source, environment friendly, no fuel needed, abundant supply. 5. Significant savings for homeowners. 6. Smallest land footprints. 7 is innovation and technology. The cons or the negative side is suitable only to particular region. It's very high in cost of powering the pump, surface instability, environmental concerns, high temperature needed, may run out of steam. Here is the last source of renewable energy. This time it is called biomass, but for me, I don't consider this as renewable because this will be run out of sources or resources. But anyway, this is another form of resources for the new kinds of energy. So biomass energy is energy that is derived from organic matter of plants and animals. One of the most used plant to produce biomass is the tuba-tuba. The tuba-tuba plants mostly grow in the Philippines and in tropical countries. Some of these burned to make electricity, some is made into biogas, biofuel like ethanol, as a replacement for gasoline. So see the diagram here for you to understand the process. So at first there is a storage mass of the plants or animals organic matter, and then it is processed in the gas cleaning chimney, and then it power the turbine, and the turbine give electricity to generator, and generator now will supply or produce energy to homes or cities. Okay, so that is the biomass. Now let's go to the pros and cons of the biomass energy. The pros, first is it is very renewable. Second, dependency on fossil fuel. Third, carbon neutral, widely available, can be used in many forms. 6, it helps reduce waste. The negative side or the cons of the biomass energy is number 1, not totally clean when burned. Second, can lead to deforestation. Third, inefficient. 4, requires a lot of space to plant the plants that will produce biomass. Number 5, very expensive. Okay, so for conclusion, we can't run out of renewable because our nature replenishes them faster than we consume it. Okay, so renewables here refers to the renewable sources or renewable energy, like the sun, the wind, the water. The use of domestic power generators reduces the strain on power distribution systems. Green electricity is becoming increasingly accessible to the average consumers. Renewables are generally not hazardous to the environment. Biomass and geothermal energy need wise management to avoid their depletion. Renewable heat is still expensive and hard to access. Some green energy installations take up large pieces of land that can be used to grow crops. If clean energy becomes prevalent, the electricity transmission and distribution systems must be transformed and managed more effectively. So here is a diagram on the distribution and transmission of the biomass energy. Okay, here's the diagram for the distribution of the biomass energy. First, there is a large plant for the biomass, and then it produces power, and the power will be transmitted to the substation where it is processed, and the power also after processed is being distributed to the cities or to the consumers. So there are three block diagram of distributing and transmitting the biomass energy down to the cities or consumers. Okay guys, here are the top 10 renewable energy questions during 2019. So answer all of these questions on a white bond paper and submit your answer to our Google email, and kept your hard copy on the brown envelope to be collected after the midterm exam. Okay, number one question is, what is renewable energy? Number two, how many different types of renewable energy are there? Number three, which renewable energy source is the best? Number four, can renewable energy replace fossil fuels? Or can renewable energy replace gasolines and other fossil fuels that we use today? Number five question, how can renewable energy benefit the environment? Or how the environment benefit from renewable energy? And last questions, number six, how does renewable energy save money? Or how can consumer save money from using renewable energy? Alright guys, don't forget to subscribe and comment always on every video that you watch, because it is your attendance. Okay, so I'll see you on our next topic next week right here in this channel. Ciao for now.